Iran has criticized the Qatari government for allowing the Syrian opposition to open an embassy in Doha. Iran's deputy foreign minister called the move theatrics. He said the measure was hasty and illogical and did not have the backing of the Syrian nation. Emir Abdullahian called on the Qatari government to stop intensifying bloodshed in Syria, adding that the Syrian people will not let others decide their future. Abdullahian made the comments just days after the so-called Syrian National Coalition received the green light from Doha to open its first embassy there. The mission was inaugurated while the original Syrian embassy in Doha remains closed. Meanwhile, Qatar has also been criticized for preaching democracy, while its own emir came to power after staging a coup against his father in 1995. Author and political commentator Dr. Kevin Barrett joins us from Madison to give us his thoughts on this. Well, Dr. Barrett, first we had the Arab League giving its seat to this so-called Syrian National Coalition. Then we have this embassy opening. I mean, tell us, as Iran has stated, this just doesn't help the situation inside Syria, does it?
Well, no, of course not. But it's pretty much what you should expect from the government of Qatar, which is really just one big U.S. Air Force base. As you may recall, Qatar was the staging area for U.S. troops invading Iraq. And it's really less of a nation than an outpost of the global U.S. Zionist empire. And that empire currently is working hard to overthrow the government of Syria. It doesn't seem to be interested in any kind of negotiated resolution. So I think that this gesture is just kind of another example of how the Middle Eastern governments that are allied to or puppets of the big Western power, the U.S.-Israel axis, are committed to trying to stop the axis of resistance, which has had so much success in recent years, from continuing its series of victories over the Israelis.
And of course, there's now talks being thrown about of how there may be a push to have the seat of Syria at the UN being taken away and handed over to this SNC, who doesn't have a president. Is that what will that do? I mean, is there a scenario that perhaps is going to be played out in that regards?
I don't think that will happen, because I think the Russians made a pretty clear statement yesterday saying that they aren't going to stand for that. And I do believe that that Russia does have veto power in that regard. So I don't think that we're going to see the opposition, or whatever you want to call them, the terrorists, the mercenaries, the Syrian opposition, or the foreign-backed forces that are destabilizing Syria, taking over Syria's seat at the UN anytime soon. But there is, of course, a push for that. And all of this is part of the propaganda effort to try to delegitimize the current government of Syria, and to try to legitimize this kind of bizarre coalition of mercenaries, terrorists, and legitimate and illegitimate Syrian opposition groups that's currently destabilizing that country.
It's good to see you. Thank you very much. Dr. Kevin Barrett there, author and political commentator from Madison.